All right. And we are back with Paulsaltine with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, everybody loved this movie growing up, right? I am Mirne, your host for the next couple hours. I'm looking forward to all these awesome games lined up. Once again, don't forget donate. We'll give you that link to the charity. Child's Play is what we are raising money for, guys. We are so close to that $400 mark. I'm really hoping we can see that tonight. But without any further ado, let's hand it over to Paulsaltine. And with this nightmare run, feel free to introduce yourself and good luck.
Thank you very much. Guys, as said, I'm Paulsaltine, and this is Nightmare on Elm Street. Is this a horror game? Is this a horrible game? I'll let you come to that conclusion. I personally actually really like this game, but I know that a lot of people have an issue with this game for various reasons. To each their own. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, before we even get started, I'm going to try to do a very specific RNG setup on boot up on this game. What I'm going to do is, if I don't get it the first time, I'm going to reset the console a couple times. It is quicker to reset and start and try to get it a couple times than it is to take the unoptimal RNG. We can keep the timer going for simplicity's sake, but I may reset in the first couple seconds a couple of times just to see if we can get it. It's a very finicky setup, and I'm not very consistent with it, but we're going to try our very best. So I will just say start when I want the timer to start, because it's kind of to give a countdown is a little bit weird, but I will let you know. We're going to get ready to go for this. And start. And we possibly got the RNG setup. So basically with this game, for some unknown reason, the developers decided that the first 3 stages of the game were going to be completely random as to which house that you had to walk into to start the level. So there are 3 houses that are right next to one another, and in those 3 houses are the first 3 stages, but for some reason it's completely random which house is the actual house that you need to go to, so you need to spend time walking around looking for the proper house. There is some inputs that you can hold and press on the startup. It's about a 10-frame window, I believe. And if you get it properly, it sets the RNG so that the proper order of the houses is left to right. And in the amount of time it took for me to explain that, we are on our first boss fight. So something that I should also mention, I am going to be doing a donation for each death that I take. So we just took one there. I think we'll probably do $2 a death, so if chat or the staff want to keep track of the deaths, that would be great. And we got the optimal RNG, so we are already doing a lot better than my last Nightmare Marathon run. It's okay, we got all that out of the way. What is the purpose of this game? We are basically going through Elm Street here as a teenager, loosely based off of the 3rd and the 4th movies in the franchise. We are collecting all of Freddy's bones to throw in the furnace. There are actually almost a perfect number of bones in this game compared to what's actually in the human body. They are 1 short, which makes me think that it was probably just a developer oversight. Second boss fight. It's just another piece of Freddy on a string. It's 2 deaths. Alright. Deaths during the boss fights are really not ideal, because you kind of lose the pattern that you're trying to get in with actually fighting the bosses. It's not so bad on the first 2, but as the game continues, it gets a little bit worse. I think, Something may have happened to Freddy when he was younger. Hey, this is not normal. It's not normal of somebody to be this way. We didn't jump far enough? Okay. So the problem with this game is if you know, accidentally take damage from an enemy that you're not normally supposed to take damage to, or if you die in a weird spot, like everything kind of gets reset and is completely different than how you're used to. Because so many things, for some reason, despawn in this game if you do everything right. Like there's a chance that there's a mouse over here that might despawn, and he didn't. So it does take 4 hits for you to die in this game, and it resets after every stage. Let's see if we can one-cycle this. Okay. So on the boss fights as well, you're going to notice that I'm always using the same power-up. It's the athlete javelin thrower here. Oh, we should have taken an intentional death before the fight. So there are 3 power-ups you can get in this game. There's the athlete here. There's a ninja, which is actually pretty useful in a casual playthrough of this game. And then there's the necromancer, which is kind of like a wizard. The reason in the speedrun that we use the athlete, for 2 reasons. Number 1, their javelin is a pretty useful weapon. What you can do with the javelin is normally if you're on the ground, you can only shoot 1 javelin and you can't shoot another one until either your sprite's off screen, or the javelin sprite's off screen, or if you do a hit on an enemy. So what you can do as well is if you're in the air, you can, for some reason, shoot multiple javelins in a row. So we combine that. When it comes to a boss fight, what we do is we jump and we spam shots and we try to get as close or into the hitbox of the boss as we possibly can, and that really, really speeds up the fights. And so we got the first 3 stages out of the way, and from here on out, there's no more random stage order. It's completely set in stone from right to left. But one thing that we will have to talk about here now, it's the thing that really makes this run so challenging. It's the other aspects of RNG which we cannot control. That's basically... Oh god, this bat. Okay, I punched that bat and he didn't die. That's cool. Okay, so anything that falls from the sky in this game, so rocks in this stage, or water drops, or blood drops, or whatnot, are sort of random. They're kind of on a global timer, but not really. I believe that the global timer will tell the rock or the water droplet, you need to drop at least, 1 every 2 or 3 seconds. But you can drop any time before it as well, so it makes it very hard to kind of time those things out. These boss fights are a little bit easier because the patterns are a little more set. And okay, we're moving on to probably the easiest stage in the game here, is the cemetery. It's not too long, and the boss fight is probably the easiest in the game. But, oh, okay, alright, so that fly actually just sniped me. That's cool. I've already lost count of deaths, so I hope that somebody is paying attention. That's what I get for talking about how easy this stage is. That fly was like, yo, shouldn't have said that, kid. Yeah, with this stage, it's mostly, well, with pretty much anything in this game, it's like just do it the same way over and over and you'll be fine. So like back there, if I would have killed one of those zombies, one would have spawned right down below me and would have damaged me when I was trying to get that bone. So it's best to just like let those dudes live. For some reason, the zombie then doesn't spawn, and that's like everything in this game. And it's, okay, it's Ghost Freddy, the easiest boss in the game because he has a huge hitbox and a very predictable pattern. Bam. Okie dokie, we're doing okay. Doing okay. So this is Freddy's house here. This is probably the most challenging stage in the game. It's pretty long, and it's one of two stages or areas where we actually risk falling asleep. So there's a whole sleep dream cycle in this game that if you do a good speed run, you never fall asleep, so you never really see it. But up by our score, you can see a Z meter or a Z meter. When that runs out, you'll fall asleep. Now, when you're asleep, you can use the power-ups that we've been picking up that I've been using on the boss, which is good, but all the enemies change and they get harder, so they have more hit points. And then the longer that you stay asleep, there's a chance that you might have to fight Freddy. It's a super easy fight, but it just wastes time, and a lot of it. So we have been picking up coffee, which refills our sleep meter. But this little section here is the longest in the game that you go without picking up a coffee. So if you take a bunch of damage, because, you know, the Z meter goes down if you take damage, or if you take too long going through a stage, because it also goes down with time. It basically goes down no matter what. There is a pretty big risk that you can fall asleep here. And yes, actually, a mention of the soundtrack in chat. We can argue whether or not this is a good or bad game. There are merits of this game. There are bad parts about this game. One thing that is absolutely banging is the soundtrack. And you may not know this, many people don't know this. This soundtrack was made by David Wise, Mr. Donkey Kong soundtrack himself. And right down here is the part we call the gauntlet. We just got to try to not get hit on our way over and the way back. And we did it. Perfect. So I think about dying in this game. So yeah, 4 hits you die, but you don't respawn until your ghost animation goes off screen. So when I know I'm about to die, I may take an intentional death if I'm near the top of the screen, just because it's a lot faster to respawn. Like, there, that's not quite as high as I want it to be, but we'll take it. It's better than dying on the gauntlet, where the gauntlet's right on the bottom of the screen. It's just, it takes so long. Okay, and we are coming up on the hardest boss in the game. And it's right around when the developers got really lazy with making this game. Okay, that's a bad death. Another thing about this game, loves to eat your inputs. Apparently it's a lot worse too if you play multiplayer, like player 1's inputs can eat player 3's inputs. It's actually just a rehash of 2 other bosses, but now you gotta fight them side by side. It's funny, Freddy's Unchained Head here actually has the most predictable pattern of all the bosses in the game, but the fact that he's dropping blood out of his head actually makes it kind of hard. You're trying to do damage, and then, you know, the blood hits you, and you might die, and then you're just completely out of the pattern. Okay, final stage coming up. We've got a couple of very tight tricks right here, including some pixel-perfect jumps. So that was the tight jumps. Another tight jump. Okay, we're going to do 2 pixel-perfect jumps right in a row down here. Okay, we got 1. Okay, there we go. So that bone that's over there, the game kind of wants you to sit around and fall asleep before you can get it, because the Necromancer power-up, so like the wizard power-up, has a kind of a floaty jump, kind of like Princess and Mario 2 does. Oh, that's hilarious. So you can easily make that gap, but if you're still alive, so if you're still awake, if you wait until the last possible pixel where you can actually jump off a ledge, and you kind of do a half jump, not a full jump, you can make that jump while you're still asleep, but it's pretty tight. We're getting close to the end here. We got a couple more rooms here. This one's not too challenging. We got another room below this, like a basement dungeon, and then after that, before the final Freddy fight, we're finally going to get to see the dude. The game's going to try to get us to do a boss rush. So basically, we refight every boss that we fought so far. There is actually a way to skip the boss rush, and we're gonna try to do it. You can't skip the first boss fight because as soon as you fall into the boss rush room, he spawns immediately. So you have to fight the first fight over again. But from then on forward, for every other fight, and this actually does include the final Freddy fight, so you can soft lock the game. If you stand on the pixel that spawns the boss fight, and then you just sit on it and turn back around and move backwards, and then turn back around again and walk over the pixel, the fight won't spawn, and you can skip it. However, if you are 1 pixel too far and like to the right when you try it, 2 things can happen. Number 1, you can spawn the wrong boss fight, which is kind of funny. And number 2, you can spawn multiple boss fights in a row, which is a huge time waste. So we're gonna try our best. I did get all of them earlier in practice. We're gonna hope that that happens again today, but... Oh my god. Okay, he's got health. Leave him alone. We're coming up on it, so we'll see how lucky... Oh no, of course. See how lucky we are. Eight deaths? That checks out. We'll probably get 1 more down here. Alright, let's try these boss skips. Okay. Didn't get that one. This is the hardest one to get. For some reason, the pixel that you're supposed to stand on is a little bit different than the rest. It's like 1 to the right. Right again, let's take our time. Okay, there's 1. I lean right into to try to get my eyes on the pixel. Okay, we went one too far, so we may have multiple fights here. Chat can guess how many refights we have here. None. Okay, that's excellent. Yeah, okay, we went one too far again. All right. I refuse to believe that we're going to be lucky enough to not have multiple fights here. Okay, or we are. This is one we really want to skip. Okay, there we go. All right, time is coming up. When Freddy jumps to the right side of the screen, off screen, is going to be time. Final boss fight. This is super underwhelming. Kind of just swipes at you like he's blind, and time. Playful, this is indeed on original hardware, but it is RGB modded. So, it looks, the video output's a lot better than what you would normally get. Yo, thanks for the GGs, guys.
Yeah, GG on that run.
I think that was 19 even, wasn't it?
It was 19 and some change. I think that they canceled out the timer again, so I couldn't catch it.
That's fine. Were we 8 deaths there? I think?
Yeah, I think chat has come to the conclusion that we are at 8 deaths.
All right.
My apologies. I hit the timer twice because I was looking at the timer on the stream and not on my computer. It was 1908.
Perfect. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Oh man, 1908 got 8 deaths. I mean, how much better could that work out?
Yeah, exactly. 8 deaths is not too bad. There is a run for deathless in this, and it's actually insane. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, I'm not sure.
All right, well, thank you very much for having me, guys. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Any last things to say before we head off?
No, I think PMC is up next, right?
Yes, PMC.
Chat. Give PMC a big old congrats, because he is going to be running at GDQ in January.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Wow.
So
gotta give him congrats on that.
Give him the congrats. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul, for all that horrible run. And I say that next is PMC Trilogy with, let's see, True Crime, New York City. So stick around so we can go ahead and see the wonderful masterpiece that is, and then that we are raising money for. Guys, we are so close to that $400 mark. I'm really hoping that we $400 mark. I'm really hoping that we $400 mark. I'm really hoping that we $400 mark.
Have fun.
Thanks again. What part did you?
I'm sorry, I swapped over and then deafened my Discord because I could hear you twice, and then I cut off your ad read. Sorry. That was an accident.